Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're taking a really profound, honestly, kind of mind bending journey to completely dismantle reality itself. I mean, if you've ever stopped and questioned the fundamental nature of the world around you, you are absolutely in the right place. We're going to unpack some of the most advanced ancient Mahayana Buddhist wisdom directly from the Lankavatara Sutra. Specifically, we're zeroing in on a totally radical core concept: all is mind made. We're going to explore exactly how the invisible architecture of your consciousness is literally projecting the physical universe you're experiencing right now. So get ready to completely rethink what it actually means to be awake. Okay, let's dive into this with a massive foundational statement straight from the sutra. All phenomena are unsolid, arising only from discrimination. Just pause and think about that word for a second. Unsolid. It changes absolutely everything. Right now you're sitting on a chair, looking at a screen, existing in a physical world that feels incredibly heavy, permanent, and, well, solid. But this text is telling us that this solidity, it's entirely fluid. The physical world isn't just out there, it's being constructed right here in your own perception. It arises simply because your mind actively discriminates, constantly dividing things into self and other. Which naturally leads us to a massive, super provocative question, right? If the physical world isn't solid, if the laws of physics and the actual matter around us are just byproducts of our own mental sorting process, are we living in a grand illusion constructed by our own minds? Are we literally the architects of our own simulation? To answer that, the sutra uses these brilliantly evocative metaphors to describe our everyday world. It says it's like a dream, or a mirage shimmering in the heat. It's like the phantom city of Gandharvas, which is this ancient term for a mirage city floating in the clouds. Or, actually my personal favorite, it's like seeing a hairnet in the sky simply because you have a cataract in your eye. Now, what do all these have in common? Well, they feel undeniably 100% real while you're experiencing them. If you're dreaming, you run, you feel fear, you feel the solid ground. You might even trip and stub your dream toe on some mind-made furniture. But the moment you wake up, or the moment your vision is finally cleared, you realize the threat, the city, the solid ground, it was entirely a mental projection. Section 1. Exploring the projector. Let's look at the Alaya Vijnana. So the crucial point here is the Alaya Vijnana, or the storehouse consciousness. Think of this as the ultimate invisible source code of your personal reality. It is the deep, foundational eighth consciousness. And what exactly does it store? Well, it holds seeds. These are ancient habit energies, your past actions, thoughts, and memories. Every single thing you've ever thought or done leaves a trace, right? A tiny seed of energy deposited in this vast, deep vault. It's basically a cosmic hard drive that is constantly running in the background of your entire existence. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it breaks down the abstract architecture of human perception. The vast majority of our daily experience, roughly 75% of it, is totally dominated by our sensory consciousness. That's your sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and that surface-level thinking mind. This is the loud, chaotic, everyday world we interact with. But beneath that layer is the manas, the ego or the central thinking hub, taking up about 12.5. And then, way beneath that, completely hidden away from your daily awareness, is the remaining 12.5%, the deep alaya vijnana. It's quiet, it's invisible, but it is constantly feeding information upward. This deep alaya interacts with your ego, which then filters out into your senses, and that whole process ultimately paints the reality you're seeing right now. Section 2. Ocean and Waves. The Mechanics of Illusion. The sutra offers us what is perhaps its most famous and frankly its most beautiful metaphor. The various consciousness are like the many waves of the ocean. Just imagine that for a second. Picture the vast, dark, unmoving depths of the sea, compared to the chaotic, crashing, white-capped waves on the surface. They look completely different, they act completely different, but they are made of the exact same water. Let's demystify this ancient philosophy a bit and look at the exact mechanism of how this happens, step by step. Step 1, your seeds, those habit energies we talked about earlier, they just rest quietly in the deep, undisturbed ocean of the alaya. Then comes step 2, the wind of ignorance and discrimination begins to blow. This is your mind habitually deciding, oh, I like this, or I hate that, or I am me and you are you. That wind agitates the deep water. And finally, step 3, the result. Because of that wind, the illusion of an external, objective world rises up just like crashing waves. The physical world you are looking at right this second is nothing more than the agitated waves of your own deep consciousness, whipped up by the wind of your own habits. Crazy, right?
Section 3. All is mind-made. The ultimate truth.
The three realms arise from the mind. Now, this isn't just about the mundane, everyday world. It applies to the highest spiritual realities, too. The sutra teaches that even the breathtaking, majestic imagery of the Buddhas, or the exquisite Pure Land of ultimate bliss, is not some distant geographical place you travel to after you die. No, it is a profound, direct manifestation of an awakened mind. Heaven, hell, the grocery store down the street, the entire cosmos, it is all, completely and entirely, an outward projection of your inward state.
And this brilliantly illustrates the dividing line between suffering and peace. The foolish are blinded by their own habit energy. They look at the waves and think, wow, those waves are solid, permanent, and objectively real. And because they take the projection so seriously, they get caught in this constant stressful cycle of suffering. But the wise actually understand the Alaya Vijnana. They recognize the projector for what it is. They view the world as a fluid, flexible manifestation of the mind. Because they know it's a projection, they don't fight the waves. They experience profound liberation and peace, which the text calls true thusness.
Section 4. Awakening and Liberation. Breaking the Cycle.
So here is the cure. This is how you actually break the cycle, laid out plainly. First, you absolutely must recognize the illusion. Understand that the world is literally just a mirror reflecting your mind back at you. Second, stop the perfuming. This basically means stop feeding your storehouse consciousness with toxic seeds of bad habits, anger, and false discrimination. Stop giving it bad data. Third, execute what the sutra calls turning the basis. You intentionally turn your attention away from clinging to outward physical objects and instead look inward at the source. And finally, by doing all this, you realize the pure, empty, unagitated nature of the mind. The wind stops. The waves finally calm down. Let's move to and see how this builds into our ultimate takeaway. Liberation is not escaping the world. It is seeing the world exactly as it is, a flawless reflection of your own pure mind. You don't need to run away to a cave in the mountains. You don't need to destroy the physical world. You just need to realize that the external world doesn't exist independently. When you clean the projector, the movie on the screen automatically becomes beautiful. I want to leave you with this final, empowering thought. The universe you live in is uniquely yours, built from the seeds you've planted in your own deep consciousness over time. So I have to ask, if your reality is just a reflection of your storehouse consciousness, what kind of world will you project today? Seriously, think about the seeds you're watering right now. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. And until next time, keep questioning your reality.